I suppose I could have titled this my thoughts on the interview, but I'm just going to put it out there. We cannot be at war with Russia. We cannot be at war with China, even though China fucked us over. We have to find a way. We have to find a way to talk to Kim Jong Un, even after he threatened us with missiles over a stupid movie. We have to find a way to do better. Now, there's a lot of haters. Even Rev Scarecrow, well, Rev Scarecrow's come out and said he's against Trump. Trump is not the real problem. The real problem is the system of people that want to keep us at war. Now, for all the grifting that the geeks and the gamers and the young Rippas and the Josiahs and the nerdrotics and the Star Wars theories and all the people, and there's a lot of grifting to be done. Disney's always bad. The left is always kooky. A little bit of democracy and a little bit of identity politics and a little bit of progressive nature is not bad, but not at the cost of the things that need to be done. Besides good storytelling in movies and comic books, good political decisions, good business decisions need to be made. I think back to 13 Days. The movie with 13 Days that was with Bruce Greenwood as John F. Kennedy. And this is the one, and funny enough, because you had also Kevin Costner, and he was in the JFK Oliver Stone movie about the death of JFK and investigating who shot, back into the left, the magic bullet. He played one of the advisors to JFK in 13 Days. And it was a thriller. It was basically after the Bay of Pigs and trying to calm tensions between America and Cuba, okay? Because missiles and things were going to go to Mexico, I think, or South America, and they did not want that. Or something, I think it was something between either it was Russia and Mexico or something. Something was going, I don't remember the whole, my history is poor. But there were things going on in which one country was going to get superpowers south of the border, and Kennedy did not want that. But he didn't want Bay of Pigs either. So the movie ended with this actor who looks a lot like Bobby Kennedy, but he plays Bobby Kennedy, and he goes and talks to the guy who was the landlord in Spider-Man 2. I see you have evil eye. Where's the rent? Where's the rent, Parker? And the guy plays a diplomat for Cuba. So America talks to Cuba, and they have this. It's a very brief conversation. And I think in real life there'd probably be some wine and some vodka. I mean, you should probably they probably should have had some vodka on that table there if you wanted to make it a better interview. But besides that, um, I think when you solve the problems in a small room like this, okay, the way it was done in 13 days to prevent a war, to prevent a country from getting superpowers. From what I could remember about this conflict, Ukraine wanted to work with NATO. They wanted nuclear weapons. Is that right? Am I getting this right? There were conditions for Ukraine to not be part of Russia, but the way I saw this interview through the D-Day Cobra. Sometimes they're right, and a lot of times they're wrong. But I mean, it's a show that has to be against the left because the left will make really stupid mistakes like AOC and Nancy Pelosi, Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom's a clown. Um, but they were showing this interview. Their live stream got stopped twice, so they had to do a three-part live stream video. But they had to go on Kick and Rumble. But I saw this interview, and it seems to me that Putin goes over the history of Russia, how Russia came to be, the powers that be. Now, keep in mind, is Putin a piece of shit? Is he an asshole? Yes, he is. And as a lot of people on the right have pointed out, we're trying not to be a communist country. We're not trying to be like Russia, and yet the people that censor us are like communists. The people here in our on our home turf. Okay, we don't need that. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to better ourselves by listening to just listening, okay? No missiles, no funding the bad guys or the other guys or try to take sides. We're trying to listen. And I sense there's dishonesty going on with between Ukraine, whether it's business deals like China. I sense something else is going on. Okay? Because the only Ukrainians I really feel bad for are the people who didn't ask for a fucking war. The ones who are putting in their 8 to 10 hours to feed their families. They don't need this shit. They don't need it. It's like, what do they need a war for? People have lost their homes, they lost their lives because of missile strikes. Um, and I don't like Zelensky. I don't trust Zelensky. Hasn't this man been tied to terrorism before? Hasn't he been connected to terrorist attacks before? I thought he was, wasn't he? Wasn't Zelensky? See, I don't know much about the exact details of politics, but I know certain things from way back when. And I think Zelensky's a corrupt piece of shit. I do. The fact that he was there when there was a Nazi in the conference room in Canada, it's like, oh yeah, here's this guy. He's cool. Yeah, the 90-year-old Nazi. That's great. Um, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. This is ridiculous. The fact that the live stream got shut down. They say copyright, but how do you explain the way it got stopped twice? You can't get your feelings hurt, or was it your fifis hurt? We're trying to figure out a way to solve problems. And as Jeremy pointed out on Twitter, I think it was his D-Day Cobra to Angry Joe, Trump never put us to war. Now, does Trump do immoral things? I mean, you could talk about Saudi Arabia. You could talk about Trump and the strikes on Syria. You could talk about Trump's approach to the COVID lockdowns, Dr. Fauci. You could criticize his firing of many staff members. You could criticize the way he handled, certain business transactions, Indian burial grounds, Roe v. Wade. All right. But he had only been a politician for 4 years, where you have career politicians that are, tending to the swamp for decades, for many, many years. And they don't want to let go of their power. AOC doesn't want to let go of her power. Remember, Dianne Feinstein just died on her seat. And they kicked out Nancy Pelosi, rightfully so. What I want to see is the Democrats humbled in power. I don't want to see them lose their power. I want to see their power humbled. I want to see Republicans take some power, but not go back to the Bush era of let's find some weapons out there in Iraq. Let's go back. No. And I don't like the Roe v. Wade being overturned. So I'm kind of like, I'm against the bullshitters. The ones that are reaching for power the most are your friends the least. This war between Russia and Ukraine did not need to happen. President Biden needed to be there at that summit when Kim Jong-un and Putin were there. Gaza, Palestine, Israel, that should be figured out, in a diplomatic way. Because what happened in Gaza was way, way worse. So, the rarest times I talk about politics, I don't know who the hero is. Usually you get in trouble for saying this person's the hero. The real heroes are the ones that are taxpayers, we the taxpayers, who have to survive and pay and feed our families. Now, I have no families, and I pay fewer taxes than most of you. But that doesn't mean that I don't deserve to have a nice, happy life. Everybody deserves that. We go to war, all that doesn't matter. It gets thrown out the window. As they say, hard men make easy times, invite hard times, and hard times, or easy times make soft men, but soft men invite hard times, and hard times make hard men. So it's a circle. But we have to learn to be tough when it's necessary. So if Trump can get elected, because right now, who's better than him right now? I mean, making Russian assets. You had Bernie Sanders. If Joe Biden from 10, 12 years ago was qualified more, he isn't qualified now. He can't handle himself. Bernie Sanders, who was cast out, he was told, shut up, old man, just like, like the whole Robin Hood thing. Bernie Sanders was cast out. Yeah. So that happened. Tom Tulsi Gabbard was accused of being a Russian asset. So any Democrats who weren't exactly dinos, but they were trying to make things better, they were silenced. Um, was it Eric Weinstein or his, not Eric Weinstein, but his brother, was trying to come up with a third party that could resolve the issues between the Republicans and Democrats. He got blocked from Twitter. I don't know if he ever came back. That was ridiculous. Every time we try to come up with a peaceful solution that doesn't involve guns and fighting, as Trump said, see people. I want to stop people from dying. Yeah, I want to stop people from dying as well. Why can't we do that? So that's all I got to say. Um, I don't. I think this interview went well. After listening to Putin, the one guy that has been put at least a year in prison, if not more, for espionage. Hearing the history of Russia, uh, having Tucker ask the difficult questions, having Putin respond in kind. It was not an easy, but I mean, he's a complicated man. Tucker's going to ask complicated questions, but Putin's a complicated man. So of course it's going to, you got to be able to handle all this stuff. I remember when they threw out the alcohol, a lot of Russians were drinking like fish, like goldfish. It's a difficult time. So with every country, there's a positive and negative. Edward Snowden's out there for a reason. Joe Rogan treated Edward Snowden like a human being. And I felt like that interview was a step to this one, was just baby steps. That was like elementary school. And this is college. This is where we have to be right now. We need more of this. We need less fighting. We need less people dying.